Hey guys. Hello everyone. Anybody who happens to be here. It's me. It is Cia B and I wanted to just hop on. I'm looking at my newly done eyelashes. They look a little crazy, a little bit outrageous, but that's okay. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to hop on and I wanted to um, go into the story time that I told about the court visit, the unfortunate court visit that I had. I did a whole video about it, but I understand the audio wasn't great. So hopefully the audio is good on this. In fact, if there's anyone in here and they want to give me yes, you can hear me. No, you can't hear me. Audio's good. Audio terrible, let me know. That'd be wonderful. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of hop on. I wanted to retell that story in case anybody's interested. I also wanted to answer any questions. I have a mentorship group that is starting tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. There's still time if you want to hop into that. I will put the link in the description or whatever you do after a live. But welcome. My name is Cia Bryant. I am the mobile notary mentor, but actually not just mobile notary. I also talk to people about being an online notary, specifically with Notarize, which is the platform that I use. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to come and retell the story of when I went to court because I think the audio wasn't that great. Now, about a year ago, well, let's see, yep, October, about a year ago, I got a call from someone. It was an attorney saying, "Hey, listen, I want to talk to you about a signing that you did." And at that point, it was like at least like 4 years before, right? Okay, cool. They said, "Do you remember Mr. or Ms. X, Ms. XYZ?" I said, "Yes, I do remember her." And then they said, "Okay, well, unfortunately, Miss XYZ has passed. And what I need you to know is that someone is contesting the will." I said, "Oh, well, sorry to hear that." So they said, "Well, when you did the notarization for Miss XYZ, do you remember whether or not she was lucid and she understood and all this?" I said, "Well, yeah, I remember very specifically having a conversation with Miss XYZ, even though her son is the person who called and hired me. I remember that me and the son and Miss XYZ had a very good conversation." So that's great. And then the attorney, who was the son's attorney, said, "Great. Can you do a kind of a subpoena or a statement to that effect?" I said, "Yes, I can do that." So I prepared the like statement, who I am, my background, um, my information about Miss XYZ and what happened. Okay, boom, gave it to them, and I said, "All right, go on, go be great. That's wonderful. Hopefully, I won't hear anything else about this." Spoiler alert, I did. A few months later, I got an email, or actually, I got a call from the attorney's office saying, "Well, this is actually now going to court and we need to have you come and testify." I was like, Testify? I don't want to do that. I did not want to do that. But one thing you need to know is a if you're a notary, that's kind of part of your responsibility. If you're called to testify to what you've seen, what you know, what you've experienced, what you have witnessed, you have to do it. So cool. So they called me and they said, "When we're going to be going into court, it will be either like Wednesday or Friday, 9 a.m." I said, "Okay, well just let me know." So it gets closer, gets closer, gets closer. And I have some other things to do at other appointments. So I'm saying to myself, "Well, come on, you need to let me know." So finally, if they said it was Wednesday and Thursday, they said on Tuesday, they said, "Hey, yeah, we need you to come in. We need you to come in on Friday at 8 a.m." So, okay, cool. So I rearranged my schedule. I went in on Friday at 8 a.m. I got there, I sat down, I recognized the son who hired me, and I saw also probably the other side of the court case because they didn't look happy. Okay, cool. So I saw that. Okay, but I didn't say anything because that really was my business. My business was to go there and testify and answer questions. So I'm sitting there. I was probably there like 7:30. Sitting there. Nobody says anything to me. Nobody comes out of the courtroom. I see people going in and out of the courtroom. Nothing. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, does anybody know I'm here? Can somebody say something? I don't know. And the answer is no. They didn't come out and say anything. And but around noon, I see everyone kind of filing out of the courtroom, and I thought, oh, okay, well, I guess this is over. This is done. Um, then I asked someone, I say, "Hey, is court done?" I thought maybe I didn't have to testify. They said, "No, we have been adjourned for lunch." And I said, "Well, I'm here. I haven't testified yet." And they were like, "Oh, okay. We think that you're going to testify after lunch. You'll be the first person called." I'm like, "Okay, great." So then after lunch, I go and I'm sitting out in the sitting outside the courtroom. Here comes a man. He seems pretty friendly. He said, "Oh, hello there. Are you?" I said, "Yes, I am." They said, "Oh, you're the notary." I said, "Yes." And this guy comes up. He said, "Oh, well, I just want you to know I am the attorney for the other side. And let me just tell you what the allegations are. The allegations are that Miss XYZ, when she signed the paperwork. She wasn't lucid. She didn't know what she was doing and that sort of thing." I said, "Oh, okay, I hear you. So I just want you to know that." I said, "Oh, okay, well, thank you." Even though I smelled a trick, I'm like, "Why are you coming to talk to me?" So he just left. Cool. Went into the courtroom, and then not long after lunch, I get called in. Okay. So I get called in. I went to the stand. I got sworn in, the thing that we do a lot, which we swear people in as notaries. And the next thing I did was I got on the stand. The attorney for the son starts off asking me my background. Okay, well, here's who I am. I went to school for this. Here are my degrees and da 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 da, all that stuff. So they were like, "Oh, okay, good, good, good." And then they said, "Okay, tell me about your notary background." I said, "Okay, I've been a notary for blah 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 years." Da, da, da. Da. Okay, so tell me about your conversation with Miss XYZ. I said, "Okay, listen, me and Miss XYZ, we had a rapport. Um, we shared a common background when it came to education. We talked about that. And also, I remember, and here's something that I think is key for all of you all who are notaries, new and experienced. Um, I knew Miss XYZ was a mature person, right? So anytime I notarize something for someone who is of mature age, what I do is I make sure I have some type of topical conversation because I don't want this to happen. Even though it did, I don't want people to question whether I have my um, whether or not the person is lucid, they know what they are talking about, etc. So I did that, and we talked about some topical thing. Typically, it'll be the weather. Sometimes it's something else that is going on. Nothing too political or anything, but something. So I had that conversation with her. I had conversations about our background. I remember that. I relayed that to that attorney. Cool. So, okay, nothing further. So that attorney goes and sits down. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, good. This was fun. I can go ahead and go back. And then next thing I know, I'm getting called by Perry Mason Jr., who was who was the attorney who came to speak with me in the hallway, and the one who said, "Oh, I'm just having the small talk." So the first thing he does, he comes up and he says, "So here's what I have. I have the notary requirements for the state or the Commonwealth of Virginia. Can you read this right here? What does this say? It just talks about what the requirements are and how much one may charge. How much did you charge for this notarization? And that kind of threw me off because it had been like 4 years prior. So I said, I don't really remember. However, my standard charge is this. I charge this for the notarial fee and then this much for travel. Typically, that's where it is. And so he said, listen, where does it say that you can charge blah, blah, blah dollars for notarization? I said, it doesn't say it, but it doesn't preclude it here in Virginia. In some states, they will tell you exactly how much you can charge and how much you can charge for a convenience fee, a travel fee, etc. Virginia is silent on that. So that's why they I that's why I charge what I charge. So he said, uh-huh. Okay. So then he abandoned that. And I'm thinking to myself, what does that have to do with anything? So, okay. So he's already trying to throw me off. And the second thing he talks about, he said, so do you have a medical background? I said, oh, no, I don't. And he said, well, how are you supposed to evaluate whether or not someone is competent or whether or not the person is lucid? I said, well, that's part of what I do on a daily basis. And if someone does not appear to be cognizant or cognitively able to kind of go along with the signing, I stop it. They're like, oh, okay. And then that was pretty much it. So it's so interesting because that whole experience between getting sworn in and then between getting questioned on the stand took maybe about 5 to 7 minutes or so. But let me tell you that I was a little peeved because I could tell the implication was that I didn't have scruples because either I was overcharging people for notarizations or I didn't know what I was doing. So that is what you might expect if you are called into question and you're on the witness stand as a notary. Luckily, it didn't throw me off. I didn't go crazy. I didn't what? I don't believe it. Okay, because that wasn't necessary. But I will tell you that having this experience has given me more insight as to kind of what I need to be aware of when it comes time to conduct signings. Thankfully, I believe I've been doing several things right already. There's some other things that I have tightened up on because of that as well. But I just wanted to share with you all kind of my experience. I know some of you watched the video already, and this is kind of another, like a repeat um, story time. But I wanted to hopefully, I hope you all can hear this. I wanted to kind of give this to you if you tried to listen to the other video and it did not come through very clearly. So that was the purpose of this quick story time. I also wanted to open up to see if anyone had any questions, generally speaking, about the notary game, about being an online notary, about being a notary on Notarize, about another platform that I went through 90% of the training for, but then I said, you know what? Not going to do it because there were some other things. So all of those things have made this a very rich experience for me. I've been a notary, a loan signing agent since 2018. One, two, yeah, since 2018. I started off like a lot of you all who kind of watched the videos and saw um, Mark Wills, right, the loan signing system, and a lot of other folks who at that time were like, hey, listen, there's lots of money to be made as a loan signing agent. And by the way, there is a lot. of information to be kind of a lot of money to be made as a loan signing agent, but there's a way to do it. And I have some real thoughts, and you can look at my other videos. What I Some of my other thoughts about being a loan signing agent, and what I will do and what I won't do at this point of my notary career. And I see that there's a question from El Bain. Hello there. Um, so El Bain, the question is, would this situation apply to Ron as well if you're not physically in front of a person? So I guess my question is, what situation? The situation of being able to evaluate if a person is lucid and has the ability to consent. If that is the question, the answer is yes. When I do notarizations on the notarized platform, I have questions that I ask all of the signers. Okay. But I also, again, I'm very, very kind of aware of what the situation is. Is the signer by themselves? Do they have someone who's kind of really close by them that seems to be kind of feeding them answers and information? And in fact, I had a situation where there was a, there was a person who got on Notarize, was ready to do the notarization. It was a real estate signing because I think that's pretty much all I do on Notarize nowadays. And the person came up, the gentleman, it was a more mature gentleman, right? And he answered the question. No one else was on camera with him. He answered the questions. He got in there, and to my satisfaction, he seemed to be okay. Now later on, I found out that a previous notary on the platform had terminated the session because in the previous session, okay, the son was beside the father. The father had problems answering the questions, and then the son's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my dad has dementia, so I can't um I can't tell you." He can't answer the questions. And then the notary was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this," and then ended the call. I picked up the call not knowing any of this, and they got hip. And so what they did was the son got off camera, propped dad up, and I think he kind of fed dad the answers, and I completed the notarization. Now, I tell you what, the folks did review the video because they were like, "Well, wait a minute, did you hear anything that made you think that this man was not lucid, that he didn't know what he was talking?" I said, "There was nothing that I saw." They reviewed the video and they also agreed. They were like, "Okay, yeah, there was nothing that would lead us to believe, or lead one to believe, that the um dad wasn't lucid." Okay. So I said, "Okay." So I didn't get in trouble for it. You can get got. I just want you to know that, to use that expression. But you have to do your due diligence. Even if you're online, in person is it's even more. So you're still responsible for that. It's not one of those things where you're like, "Oh well, I ask questions." You have to kind of have your spidey senses up and be aware. I've had many instances. Well, not many. I've had several instances where I've had people who wanted me to notarize documents for folks who were not in person. And now this was in person. People who were not lucid, people who were, I would say, barely alive, which sounds terrible, but true. I remember one instance I went to a home. The person was in a hospital bed in the living room. Everyone was around. Everyone was very sad, grieving, crying. Um, which again, because someone is in the last stages of life, it doesn't necessarily mean that they cannot consent and they don't know what's going on. Okay. I'm going to be clear about that. So it's not just because a person is dying that they don't know what's going on. Okay. But in this case, I went to someone's home. The person I essentially was in a coma and they wanted me to kind of do the notary and I couldn't. So can you imagine that being a person that you're calling that's been called to come and notarize a document for someone. This is a very, very tough situation, very sad, tearful. Everyone's sad, everyone's crying. Okay. And then for me to have to come in there and say, oh, sorry, can't do this. But I had to say, sorry, can't do this, because the person unfortunately was just not able to consent and answer the questions. And that's one thing I'll go over during the mentorship session that we have starting tomorrow. I'll talk to you about the 4 questions that I ask before every notarization to make sure I get consent and make sure that people know what they're getting themselves into, okay, for the notarization. Um I'll talk about that. So, oh, hello there, Miss Yolanda. I see your comment there. I will send the link for you and Queen so that you all can be on. I've got some esteemed alumni from my previous new notary mentorship group who will be joining us as well. So I will send that link out to you all personally. And I will also have the link in the description box for this so that, in fact, I should probably try to drop this now, and I should have been a little bit more prepared. Um, but what I can do is I can drop the links in case someone wants to go ahead and sign up for the mentorship mastermind networking group that starts on Sunday, October 6th. It will be 7 p.m. Eastern Time via Zoom. It's live in color. We will talk and then I will drop the tea on some things that I'm not giving to everybody, but we'll talk. We'll have some behind the scenes chat, and we will also I'll give you some of my hints and tips from my experience on Notarize as well. So as I get myself together and I get this information and link here. I drop it in the chat. I want to kind of open it up. Last call for any questions, any comments, anything you want to know about being a notary. As I've mentioned before, I've been in these notarized streets in the well, not streets, but I've been a notary for um now since 18. So that's 6 years now. And I love it. Love, love, love it. So I want to drop this information in case somebody wants to join the group. Let's see if this works. I say let's see if the oh okay, I've got 3. Okay. Now let's see if this works. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. So this is the link. I am not doing a highly, like, very expensive networking mentorship group experience this time. It's just, that's just not where I am. It's going to be $25 a week, which you can make up with one notarization, absolutely, or for $25 a week for 6 weeks, or the $100 if you want to do the full pay. So for a 6 week session. So there you are. There's the information. So I don't know if I have any other questions that are coming forth. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. I want to make sure that this gets pushed out to more people. I will occasionally get on lives and give some more insight based on my experience as a notary. Let's see. Let me answer one question that I get often when it comes to the notarized platform. So, there are those of you who are on Notarize, you're signed up for Notarize, you're looking at Notarize, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to get started. Here's what I will say. Notarize has improved by leaps and bounds in the last 5 or 6 years since I've been on the platform. I remember when we got on Notarize, the big thing was people had so many technical difficulties and they could hardly, barely kind of get the call going because it was like, oh, let's see. And then, yeah, they can't get the camera right and they can't get the audio or either or. Let me tell you, if you have tried Notarize in the past, and you said, I just can't handle all this tech support, and that's what I can't. I don't want to be tech support. I don't want to help people. Rest assured, a lot of those issues have been resolved. Also, something else that's happened recently that has been that's resolved are a lot of the tech issues and people coming in unprepared with their IDs and such. For the most part, everybody is good to go when they get on the notarized platform. So I just want you all to know if you've tried notarize and you said, nope, I'm not going to fool with this, not fit to fool with, I would say give it another shot. I don't work specifically, I'm not a company person on Notarize, but I am a independent contractor, just like most of the other folks who work on the platform. And I've got a lot of experience. 5,000 transactions on the platform and something like 14,000 like stamps placed and all that stuff. So, if you have questions about Notarize, I'd be happy to share my insight. So that's it. I cannot believe I have been here talking for almost 30 minutes, but I just wanted to jump on, say hello, answer any questions that you all happen to have. And it looks like we have satisfied the questions that have been brought up. And so there's more to come. I may hop on another time to answer more questions. I'll go to my comments section and I will answer questions from the comment sections and make that into a live video. I think that's a great idea, if I may say so myself. So, all right, everyone, that's it. Thank you so much for hopping in and joining. I do have one more question from Elbane. So these are good questions, Elbane. Are late night hours beneficial to notaries? This is one of my favorite topics because one of the questions that people often ask is, how in the hairy heck do I get calls? I sit on notarize and then I hear the little ding, it rings and then it's gone. It's gone. So, one of my tips is if you are a new person on the notarized platform and you are looking to build up volume, because that's how you get to kind of increase, you go through the layers in Notarize, the levels, not layers, the levels in Notarize. So you start off at, like, I think it's called the partner level, right? Which is the retail queue. Anybody can go on Notarize and say, hey, I need to get a letter notarized that says that my uncle can pick up my car that got towed. So I need that notarized. So that's something that would be in the retail queue. So you have individual people who are getting things notarized. That's one thing. The second queue is the retail queue. So businesses partner with Notarize, and you do lots of transactions. 1583s are the number one transaction that people do on Notarize, and that is the you're applying for a virtual mailbox. So you do that. There are other things there. Okay, then the gold tier, the gold level, are real estate transactions. So they used to have like really clear requirements of what it took in order um, to be from retail to business to real estate. They got a little nebulous. I think the platform got saturated, and then, but now no longer. And I think now they're now recruiting more people to come. So to answer your question, though, I think it can be beneficial if you are a starting notary to go on those off hours, those late nights, those early mornings in order to do as many of the retail notarizations, and then you're going to go ahead and try to kind of move up in the tier. So that's one thing I recommend, and I think I have a video on that as well. Um, so yes, to answer your question, the answer is yes. All right. Any other questions, Elbane? Because I would be happy to answer them um, while I am still here. It's been 31 minutes. Okay. Hello. No problem. Um, and I am going to go ahead and turn you all loose. It is Saturday morning as I'm sitting here recording this. It's a beautiful day in this part of the country. Shout out, and my heart goes out to the folks. My heart goes out to the folks who have been affected by the terrible weather. So my thoughts and prayers are with everyone who's kind of enduring that tough time. But if you are here and you've joined me and you have kind of stuck around for the entire video, I'd like to say thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.